For as long as I can remember, one of my favorite video game genres has been the fighting game. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs. Today we're talking fighting games. We're looking at 10 fighting games on 10 different consoles. That's a lie. There's actually 11, but there's a catch here. We're not going to look at anything from Street Fighter or from Mortal Kombat. Now, full disclosure, there is a Street Fighter adjacent game and a Mortal Kombat adjacent game on this list, but nothing directly tied to those universes and nothing with those titles. We're going to kick things off on one of my favorite consoles of all time, the Sega Genesis, with a game you may not have heard of that kicked off the Soul Calibur series. All right, well, maybe not directly responsible for the Soul Calibur series, though the creators of this game certainly seem to think so. This is Weapon Lord, and this is the Sega Genesis version of it. This is a weapons-based fighter that is really, really simple to understand. You have 7 different characters you can choose from. It is weapons-based combat, and with that comes some really ambitious gameplay mechanics that really hadn't been seen before, and do feel like they were adapted for the Soul Calibur series. You have parries that you're able to do, which feel a little bit like Street Fighter 3. There's deflections, there's takedowns, and things like that. It's a very ambitious and very detailed kind of like concept for a video game, and the fact that it was realized and executed as well as it is on a 16-bit console is kind of remarkable. It also featured Simon Bisley art on the cover, and if you are an old school comic book fan, you know exactly who Biz is. He's a genius, and he fits perfectly this very 90s aesthetic. It's all bad girls and bad boys that are the different characters. There's scantily clad women and dudes in this game. If you were a teenager in the 90s, you're going to love this game. It's a solid fighting game. It's really fun. I think it's a clever one. It's one of those ones that I don't hear talked about very often, and that's a shame because I think it's a really excellent title. Hopping over to the PlayStation 1 now, this is a game from Capcom. You're going to hear that a lot in this video, but this is Rival Schools. Now, I could have put the Dreamcast version of Project Justice on here, which is the game's sequel, but we're going with the PS1 because there's another Dreamcast game on here a little bit later. This is one of the most ridiculous concepts ever for a fighting game. It's featuring rival high schools in Japan, and you get to play as both students and school teachers, and you beat the crap out of each other. That's it. It's a 3D combat game. The look of the game, it hasn't aged great. It looks a little ugly now by today's standards, but if you can get past that kind of initial coat of paint and get into the title itself, you're going to experience an absolutely wonderful game that has not only memorable characters and a ridiculous concept, but some incredibly solid gameplay. It's a fantastic fighting game that I think a ton of people overlooked, which is a shame. Play this one. It is brilliant. Over on the SNES, we have Fatal Fury Special. Now, we received a couple of Fatal Furies on the SNES and on the Genesis before Fatal Fury Special released, and they were okay. They weren't great. They were a little clunky. They were kind of slow. The animation cycles weren't great. We were missing some frames. Didn't look wonderful. Didn't play wonderful. But Fatal Fury Special solves all of those problems. You have a much bigger roster than what we had in previous Fatal Fury games. The soundtrack is wonderful. The animations are smooth and silky and fun. The characters are larger than life. The gameplay is solid Fatal Fury style gameplay, so you have the 2 different planes that you're able to knock people onto. There's memorable stages, memorable characters, fun super moves. It's really just a signature experience from SNK. You can't go wrong with a lot of SNK fighters. Most of them are spectacular. Fatal Fury Special from the 16-bit generations needs to be on your list if you haven't played it, because it finally realizes what we experienced on the Neo Geo and in arcades, but on a home console like the SNES. Now, I'll grant you the 32X version of Virtua Fighter is not as sharp looking as the Saturn release. That's just a fact of life. It's not going to look as good, but the gameplay is solid, and it gives the same experience that you're going to get on the Saturn or the arcade version. Now, if you have never played Virtua Fighter is an arena fighting game where you can win by ring out, you can win by KO. It's a brilliant concept for a game. It is one of the first real arena combat games that I can remember playing and really enjoying. Like, there were stuff that I played on the PS1 as well, like Battle Arena Toshinden, which almost made this list, but didn't quite get there because I don't feel it holds up quite as well as I remember it holding up when I was younger. But Virtua Fighter is super fun. It's very polygonal, so if you have played any of the Virtua games, you know what you're getting into as far as a visual look goes, but the gameplay itself is magnificent. It is presented in 3 dimensions, but it is restricted to 2D movement. So it is a planar fighter in 3 dimensions, but it works and it's fun and it looks amazing for what it is. Like, it's a 32X game. You know it's going to be a little bit weaker than other games, but the gameplay itself is really fun. Bunch of different characters you can choose from as well, all very unique, all very fun. One of the best fighting games of all time and a brilliant series that I love to this day. As someone who is not a Dragon Ball fan by any stretch of the imagination, it takes a lot for me to want to play a Dragon Ball game. And Dragon Ball FighterZ was just cooking with gas. This was such an awe-inspiring video game. First off, it looks like an animated series come to life. The animations in this game are killer. The experience on the Xbox One is magnificent. It is one of the best fighting games I've ever played, and that is with me not caring about the source material in the slightest. The gameplay is wonderful. It is over the top. It is loud. The hub world kind of sucks. I will say that. Like, I don't really care for that, but when you actually get into the gameplay itself, it is solid. You have tons of characters from all over the Dragon Ball universe that are really fun, and from what I understand, very much true to their characters in the animated series. And there's something kind of cool about dropping a Mega Kamehameha on people with Goku. It's pretty cool. I really do think this one. It's one of the strongest fighters of the previous generation, and it should not be overlooked. Legit, even if you're not a Dragon Ball fan, this is one you need to be checking out. Hopping over now to the Nintendo Switch, and this is, dare I say it, a hidden gem fighting game. This is Blade Strangers. Blade Strangers is a crossover fighting game that features characters from all over the place. You have characters from Code of Princess, from Umihara Kawase, from Azure Striker Gunvolt, The Binding of Isaac, Shovel Knight. Like, there are so many different characters in this game, and they are all unique and fun and true to the games that they are representing, with the exception of maybe Shovel Knight. He's a little bit different than what you expect. He's very, very tall, and he's not tall in his game. There's also characters from Cave Story, like Quote from Cave Story is in this as well, and it's awesome. This is a very basic fighting game. It plays like a traditional 2D planar fighter. There are special moves for each character. There's super moves for each character. It's just fun, and it's a solid experience that is kind of a little bit like an indie game Smash Brothers, for lack of a better term. It works. It's a great title. I really do consider this a fighting game hidden gem, especially on the Nintendo Switch, which is starved for fighters. Check out Blade Strangers if you've never played it. Nasalis was really cooking on this one. Sega Saturn now, and we are looking at another game from Sega. This is a 3D fighting arena combat game. This is Fighting Vipers. I really enjoy this one. Now, this one doesn't get a whole lot of recognition today because, I mean, let's be honest with you. It had 2 entries, I think, maybe 3 if you want to count Fighters Mega Mix, but it's one that just kind of gets overlooked, which is a shame. There's some great characters in this game. There's some really solid combat. I dig that there are, like, damages that happen to your armor and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. You can knock your opponents through the barricades that are set up around the ring, which I think is really neat. And you get to play as the amazing Pepsi Man! It's a wonderful game. I really do enjoy this one. This is a solid fighter on the Saturn. There's a ton of great fighters on the Saturn, so you're not going to be starving there at all for amazing fighting games, but check out Fighting Vipers if you haven't. I really do enjoy this one. Hey look, it's Weapon Lord's cousin. This is Soul Calibur 2 on the Nintendo GameCube, and I'm going with the Nintendo GameCube version of this game because it's my favorite. I get to play as Link, and I think that's really cool. And you honestly can't go wrong with any version of Soul Calibur, whether you're starting with Soul Edge or you're going on to Soul Calibur games that have released on more current generations. They're all fantastic. They're all fun. They are all uniquely themselves. They are all just beautiful games to look at and fantastic playing games that people should experience. The look of the games are spectacular, and I want you to pay attention to the visuals that you're seeing here because this isn't touched up. I'm running this through my upscaler, my RetroTink, but that's it. I'm not putting any post-processing filters or anything like that on this. There's no magical DLSS or anything running on this. This is how good this game looked from the GameCube through progressive scan. This combat is fantastic. It is a true 3D arena combat game where you were able to move fully in 3 dimensions. You were able to win by KO or by ring out. The characters are memorable. The gameplay is magnificent. The storyline is stupid. I mean, let's be honest. It is not. You're not playing fighting games for their storyline, and that does not change with Soul Calibur 2. But the gameplay is amazing, and it is something that to this day is one of the best playing fighting games I have ever booted up. This is a must-own game for any GameCube collection. Folks that have been following the channel for a while know I'm a big fan of the King of Fighters series, and you're probably all kind of wondering where the King of Fighters representation is so far, and here we are with the latest. This is over on the Xbox Series X. This is King of Fighters 15. This is, look, this doesn't reinvent the wheel. It is not going to break the bank or change anything majorly in the King of Fighters series. It is a team-based fighter. You can also do some one-on-one battles, and it just works. Like, it's great. There's a ton of characters that you can choose from that are from the history of the King of Fighters series, as well as some new ones introduced for this title. It is kind of a wonderful experience from SNK. Like, I'm really excited to have this, and I'm really excited that the King of Fighters series is continuing to be developed, as well as the new Guru Mark of the Wolves game that just came out last week. Would have been on this list if I had been able to pick it up yet, but I am just a huge fan of the King of Fighters series, and King of Fighters 15 is a solid evolution in that franchise's presentation and gameplay style. If you love the King of Fighters, you're going to love 15, and you need to play it. The Sega Dreamcast is a console that is known for its fighting games, and my personal favorite on that console is Marvel Capcom 2, but we're not talking about that one because that is far too Street Fighter adjacent. So we're going to go with the one that is a very, very close second, and it is the absolutely brilliant 3D arena combat and item combat game, Power Stone. Now, of all the titles that Capcom kind of let fall by the wayside from the Dreamcast generation, this is the one that hurts the most, because this was not only an incredible arcade experience, it was one of the best games on the Dreamcast, this and its sequel. It is beautiful to look at, has incredible sound, incredible gameplay, wonderful characters, and it just died on the vine. Capcom just let it wither and fade, and that's a shame. I'm excited we're going to see Power Stone represented on the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 that's coming out, but I want a new one. I want new Power Stone games. I want to return to the Power Stone world and to enjoy it, and to just revel in the beautiful characters and the ridiculous concept and just the fantastic gameplay. It's a magical title with a wonderful history and just a fantastic experience to play from top to bottom. If you've never played it, you need to. And it's just, I envy you being able to play it for the first time, to have that kind of, just that experience of being captivated by this game. It's that good. All right, here's your bonus game. So this is the mystical 11th game on this list. And I'm putting this one on here mainly because I love the game and I think the series is fantastic, but in particular, Injustice 2 is a game I truly enjoy. And this is our Mortal Kombat adjacent game, because you can play as Raiden, you can play as Sub-Zero, stuff like that. This is a fighting game featuring DC Comics characters as well as the Ninja Turtles and Hellboy. That was developed by NetherRealm, the guys that are doing the current Mortal Kombat games. It is over the top, it is ridiculous, it is hyper-violent, and it's fantastic. I love really everything that goes into the Injustice series. And the main reason I'm putting this one in as the bonus is because it wasn't really locked to a console, and I know that's the case with a lot of them, but it wasn't locked to a console or a generation. It kind of spanned all over the place. And I just happened to have this one here on Steam because that seemed to be the most solid place to get it, just because my PC makes it look good, and it runs really well. The combat is fantastic. It is very easy to pick up and play, but difficult to master. It's one of those kind of fighting games that anyone can enjoy, but the people that are really good at it are really goddamn good at it. And it's just wonderful. Like, full of memorable characters, full of fun environments. There's tons of customizations as well that you're able to do. I really do think Injustice 2 is one of the top tier fighting games ever. There you have it, my friends. 10 fighting games, actually 11 if you count Injustice 2, on 11 different consoles. I really enjoyed this one. I wanted to kind of give myself the challenge because it would have been incredibly easy to just say, you should play Street Fighter 2, you should play Street Fighter 3, you should play Street Fighter Alpha. That would have been very simple. So I wanted to do something a little bit different and maybe use titles that you hadn't heard of or hadn't played much of, and maybe didn't appreciate as much as you could. I hope there's some games on here that you enjoyed, but let me know in the comments down below. What are your favorite fighting games? Let me know what console they're on. Let me know which ones I should check out. I'm especially interested in seeing games on consoles that I wouldn't expect. Fighting games on things like the DS or the Wii. Like, I know Tatsunoko vs. Capcom All-Stars would have been a great one to put on here. And I do want to say one thing for Street Fighter. Do not sleep on Street Fighter 2 on the 3DO. One of the best versions of that title ever. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Check out this link on screen right now if you want to see 10 other fantastic games on 10 different consoles. And remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.